Welcome to the next transmission of Yang Woman. How's your day going? I always think I've probably taken all these videos around the garden, and this is probably the best angle for my skin this time of year. It's quite a grey day here. It's a December day, and I always find that when it's quite grey like this, it's quite introspective. You know, I feel like just curling up and having some yin time and not necessarily pushing. But I notice the energy is very much stiller than in the summer, when there's a great feeling that we're moving forward and creating and building and growing and all of those things. Whereas now all the leaves have dropped off the trees and it's just quieter. It's an opportunity to slow down. So perfect that we should be on the last day of how to let the yin in. And again, these are just ideas. They're not things that you feel that you need to change, but they're just opportunities to inject balance. So this is our 20-second video vlog of 30, and the last day of letting the yin in, before I talk about how to sort of bring in the authentic feminine in your life, and really just spend time in that space. And that's the next 7 videos before we finally finish. So let's just take a moment to connect to our bodies, which is a very yin thing to do. So wherever you are, maybe just take a seat or plug in your headphones, and let's just take a couple of deep breaths to connect, particularly with the in-breath, as we draw the breath into the body, and maybe take the breath to the top of the head, to the tips of the fingers and the tips of the toes. Draw the breath into the whole body, even to the base of the pelvis. Breathing the breath into the whole of the spine. That's really great. When I stop and I'm still, what I love is that the world carries on around you, and it's like you just have that sense of being stationary in the world that just continues, and that's the way it's always going to be. So I kind of love those moments. Okay, so letting the yin in, we started off with talking about stopping, and stopping is a really hard thing when we're always on the go, but stopping in itself and creating space is very yin. Also talked about delegating, asking for help, letting go of the control aspects of our life, which is what I want to touch on with this video. And then I talked about the real importance of sleep. Sleep is very yin, it's very nourish, nurture, replenish, and I did a little meditation. And then we talked about how to quieten the voice a little bit with nourishing the throat, and I did a little meditation about how to just relax your throat energy a little bit more, and perhaps use silence a lot more in your life. Just times where we really don't need to fill the space with words or even any other noise that might happen. So today's video is taking us back to the challenge that we did, that we talked about rather, a few videos ago, about yang women attracting yin men and very yin based partners. So our partners look to us to wear the trousers perhaps. It's not a deliberate thing, it's just kind of the way it works. If you've got one person wearing the trousers, doesn't matter which one it is, as long as that's okay for both people, that might work for you. But if you're a yang woman resenting your man or your partner, and you want him or her to wear the trousers and you're fed up with doing it, then today's video is about offering you the notion and the opportunity to ask your partner to lead. And what does that feel like for you when you think about letting your partner lead? One of the things about control is that it's almost like a strangulation gradually, because as we control everything, it's like everything has to go our way, so we don't let anybody else have the room to do anything another way, because we're already doing it the way we feel is best. And I notice that as we age, and that's men and women, but particularly women as well, and women who become widowed as well, is that we're on our own so much that we do everything our own way. And single young women as well, you know, career ladies that run their businesses that are on their own, and we just get very set in our ways about how to do things, so we kind of think there's one way. And even we do it in relationships, and when our partners and our men are very yin, they let us do it because it's an easy life and it actually suits them for us to do it. But the opportunity here is for you to let go control, so that some of this maybe strangulation of doing everything is eased with the opportunity to say to your man, honey, will you lead that? How does that feel when you think about asking your partner to lead? Or even just not asking, maybe just allowing him to do things a different way, like booking holidays. Don't get involved, just let him take over the reins. You know, maybe you want to go on a hot holiday and that's your only ask, and then let him do it. You know, doing anything, the opportunity is that we go in and we organise and we orchestrate immediately. So notice that moment where you want to step forth and try to take control of everything, and let your partner do it. Sometimes there's a bit of coercing, and for a while it might just feel a bit unnaturally. You might think, oh, come on, and you might feel frustrated because they're just not jumping in and doing it immediately. But I think that it's like a ship's nose turning. When it's been going in one direction for a very long time, you start to change the direction of the ship, and the ship doesn't just turn, it sort of turns and then moves forward. So allow some space for that. Because one of the things that comes with being very directive and very controlling is independence. Now, I'm on this amazing course for 2 years, which is really like the fertilizer for my new growth spurt, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. One of the first weekends we talked about, and our course tutor was talking about dependence and independence and interdependence being of the optimum. Like, interdependence is like balance, really. So if we're too dependent, it can be really hard work for us and our partners. But if we're too independent, which Yang women are very independent. I don't know any Yang women, you might want to show up on here and send a comment or whatever if you know a Yang woman who's incredibly dependent at the same time. It doesn't really work. We tend to be very independent because we do things our own way. We run our lives, we run other people's lives, and we're very independent. We don't need any help. Inside, the calling is for help and for a lot more yummy, nurturing, nourishing, and yet we've forgotten how to do this, the opposite, which is to let go of this and let our partners just go, you know what, honey, we're going to go to this restaurant tonight, we're going to do that next week, we're going to go on holiday here, I'm going to paint that room the colour that I would like it, you know, because when you think about independence, you just think, is independence a wholly great place to be all the time? Independence is great, but independence can be linked with loneliness on quite a deep level. You could be in the same house living with several people, your kids or your partner, but you feel lonely because you're so independent and you don't let the boundaries down. A lot of that has got to do for me about fear. What if I let go? What if I am a bit more dependent on somebody? Then I'm going to be lost in this world. And I understand that fear very much. I think single Yang women is kind of no option. We have to be in control of our own lives because we've got houses to run, jobs and businesses to keep, and I understand that independence, but it's noticing where we have the opportunity for a bit more dependence, or just allowing the independence to leak out a little bit. So in the leading, we are softening the boundaries, we're allowing someone else to show us another way. And that is brilliant for connectivity within a relationship. It's brilliant to start to bring you to more of an interdependent relationship. Sometimes you lead, sometimes your partner leads, but what about if you're always leading? It's not fun. So maybe have a think about that and what it would be like to let your partner lead you. Let your partner do things. Don't interfere. Don't have anything to say about, you know, the colour of that room, or that particular thing needs to be built in that way. Maybe just not, and see what happens. Notice what's happening in you, because at first it will be difficult, because there'll be just all these thoughts and this directive woman, but that's a part of your personality. It's not the whole of you. And sometimes it's just getting to know, and as yesterday when we were on our course we were talking about sub-personalities. Maybe this is part of your sub-personality that is the directive person, that can be just relaxed because you make friends with this little voice that goes, no, I want it all done my own way. Who is that? Maybe you want to spend some time thinking about that person and that little, maybe they even have a form, maybe they even have a name. I have a friend who has various sub-personalities that she has named. And I think it's amazing, because you can actually make friends and integrate these sub-personalities, because you have the opportunity to get to know who they are and how they operate. And actually what they want is just to be heard, and they just want to know that their needs are being taken care of the same as you. So let your partner lead. It's a very yin quality to just go, you know what, someone else is in control. I had this in my previous partnership, and actually because it was a conscious relationship, he used to say to me, honey, but every time I want to lead something, you're always in there telling me how that should be done. And I really, you know, now I get that, and it's just so important, because it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what does it matter if they do something a different way to us? Maybe there's most amazing qualities that could open up when we're opened up to a different way. And one of my friends, who is one of the most profound and amazing women in my life, she is a Yang woman. She's got a business called cheekytea.com. That's cheeky, that's CHIKI.com. She runs a green tea business living in Japan. She said to me once, and it's the most profound thing I've ever heard in my life, and I was just at the tube station with her, and she said, remember, darling, nothing really matters. And it went through me like a dose of salts, and I thought, all of the things that I stress about and worry about, nothing really matters. And I come back to that very, very regularly. Nothing really matters, because in the end, nothing does really matter. So on that note, let your partner lead. I'd love to hear what that might be like for you. Maybe you have suggestions for other women. And don't forget, these videos are being uploaded to YouTube, Gina Hardy Yoga, gradually over every 2 days. So I look forward to speaking to you again about how we can create an authentic feminine life. And in the meantime, I honour you, I salute you, and I love you, Yang woman. Namaste.